Right, testing. Good. Okay, now, this is going to be a very short video, so let's cut all the bull crap. Okay, now let's jump right into it. Now, here for this video, we are going to do chapter 12 revision. Okay, now as you know, chapter 12 market structure. This is going to be a very short chapter. Okay, so let's not waste time. Now, this chapter basically reciting everything should be good enough for you. Alright, now first of all, when we talk about market structure, we need to understand what market is. 我哋首先要知道市場架構，知咩叫市場先得㗎嘛。Okay, now in economics, market refers to any arrangement. Okay, any arrangement that transactions or exchange take place. Okay, now it can be physical or virtual. Now, for example, when you go to your canteen, let's say example 1, we have our canteen. Now, I don't know whether you have tried a new canteen or not. It's actually not bad. Okay, now you see, you pay money, you get a good, right? You pay money, you get food. This is a transaction. So there is a market. Now, on another hand, let's say you go to eBay. eBay, you pay money, and then let's say 2 weeks later you receive the good. Okay, now obviously there is no such physical place as eBay. eBay, electronic bay, right? So you don't see the physical, right? It's only an online shop, online platform, not even a shop. Okay, but that is also a market as long as we have transaction and exchange taking places. Okay, so that would be it. Now, when we talk about market structure, we need to look at several things. Obviously, we need to look at number. 呢個唔解啦 okay? Now, and then we need to look at whether the products sell in the market are whether, first of all, homogeneous or heterogeneous. 我唔寫啦，係咪 heterogeneous. Now, what it means is that homo, same. Now, basically, this one, it means same. This one means different. Okay? Obviously, in the real world, every market, of course, they will be selling different products. Okay? Now, for example, you go to 波鞋街, right? You go to 黃金, Golden Arcade. Even though they may be selling the same graphic cards, 係咪？可能the CPU, the same model, but then the people there, the service will be vastly different. One of them may have a good attitude. One of them may have a very bad attitude. All right. So in this sense, already different products in terms of service. Okay. And then we look at how easy it is to enter the market. Okay. Basically, how easy or hard to enter into a market. Okay. Or what we are talking about, how easy it is or how hard it is to survive in the market. Okay, now don't worry, we'll talk more about that later. Okay, now availability of information. This is actually the defining feature. 呢個係基本上咧係最重要嗰個 feature 嚟到分別唔同嘅 market structure 啦。Okay, now here on one hand we have so-called perfect information. On another hand, we have imperfect information. Now, basically, perfect information, you know about everything. Imperfect, you don't know, you cannot know all the things in the world. There must be something you don't know. Okay, remember, in the real world, always imperfect information. It is impossible to have perfect information. Okay, and then next, we will be looking at sellers here. We are talking about the sellers, whether they are price taker or price searcher. Okay, now when we talk about taker, okay, when we talk about taker, there will be one price only in the market. But when we talk about searchers, basically it means different prices. Okay, 得唔得？ Now, when we have price taker, all the sellers, they need to so-called accept a market price. 係咪？ There is a universal market price. But on the other hand, in the real world, all people are price searchers. Okay, there may be different prices. No such things as a universal market price. All right. Now, finally, we look at the forms of competition. Okay. Now, remember, there are two forms of competition. We have price competition and non-price competition. Okay, 得唔得？ So in this chapter, we are going to learn 4 different forms. Okay, the 4 different forms here. Let's draw it. On one hand, here we call, let's simplify it. There are the competition in the market is so fierce. On another hand, here we have 0 competition. 係咪啊？冇競爭，有競爭啦。Okay, now theoretically on this spectrum, first one we're gonna learn here. Number 1, we call it perfect competition. 完全競爭 ，OK? Perfect competition, OK? 係咪？ Now here, remember in real world there is no perfect information. It's only a theory. 記住啊，冇㗎嚇。Now, moving on to another end of the spectrum, close to 0. Now, not exactly 0. Remember, in this real world, it is impossible to have 0 competition. Okay? 記唔記得點解？ Because also impossible because in the real world we have scarcity. We have scarcity, right? So when we have scarcity, there must be some forms of competition. Okay? Now it's only a matter whether it's not fierce or fierce. Okay? Now very close to 0 here, not exactly 0, but very close to 0. We have one of the form we call monopoly. Now basically TVB, okay? Now let me write here. Basically TVB in our case. Okay? 一台獨大啦，係咪啊？ Monopoly. Now in between, okay? Now close to monopoly, here we have a form we call oligopoly. Oligopoly. Now this time, not one of them winning all the market, but several of them winning all the market. For example, okay, maybe we have parking shop and welcome. Now this is a typical example, okay, very typical example. Now close to perfect competition, but not exactly perfect competition, we also have one form we call monopolistic competition. Now don't be faked by this name, okay? Although it's called monopolistic, it's anything but monopoly. In fact, here you can think of it as many competition, okay? It's not monopolistic, many competition. As to why it is called monopolistic, now let's not go into that, okay? Since it's not within our syllabus, okay? We try not to complicate things, okay? Now here, if you want some examples, think of let's say a Golden Archive, 黃金商場啦 okay? Golden Archive, okay? Now many shops there and many small shops there. No one is winning, but no one is losing either. Okay, these are the 4 forms. So you may be wondering, then how do we exactly distinguish between the 4 forms? Okay, now let's look at them. Now first of all, let's look at perfect competition. Now remember, we have no example in real world. This is a theoretical reference. 呢個呢只係一個 theory 俾你做對比嘅啫。現實生活係冇 perfect competition 嘅，得唔得？ Now here, number of buyers and sellers. We say there are many buyers and sellers. In fact, some would even argue, okay? Some would even argue it's infinitely many buyers and sellers, okay? Now, what about the products? Now, in this market, it's very funny, okay? Let's say, if the market for sneakers, 頭先講波鞋街啊，假設波鞋街如果真係 perfect competition 咧，會發生咩事咧？嗱 ，every product would be exactly the same, homogeneous product, okay? Homogeneous. Of course, in the real world, this is impossible, right? Now, for market entry, okay, free. Come and go as you like, okay? No one stop. Now, here, when we say free, it means no stopping, okay? No one will stop you from entering and exit, okay? Now I should add, market entry and exit. Okay, 係咪啊 ？Market entry free, no one will stop you. For this market, information is perfect. Now, what does it mean by perfect information? Okay, 我哋成日話 perfect information. What is a perfect information? Now, this is a very silly example. Okay, now let's assume I go. Yes, let's assume I now look at 黃思樂. Let's say, okay. Now, for whatever reason, if I have perfect information, when I look at him, I immediately know what he has eaten for today, what he is thinking, what is how much he has spent, every single thing. 佢所有嘢我知道晒。Okay, now this is what we call perfect information. Okay, now of course in the real world it is impossible. Now, therefore, our related point, because of perfect information. Now, remember, consumers knows everything about the producers. Okay, including their way of producing. 就算佢哋點做啊，佢哋嘅成本全部知道晒。Okay, now therefore, okay, we will say the sellers has absolutely zero power. 因為佢哋完全乜都俾人知道晒。They have no more bargaining power, so they can only accept the market price. Now, therefore, they would be what we call price taker, meaning they have to accept market price. Okay, they can't change anything. No. Okay, 冇得傾. Now, and also in this market, okay, we only have price competition. You pay money, you get it. No more other competition. No lineup, no first come first serve, no anything. Okay, only price competition. Okay, now no other notable feature. Obviously, we don't have any exact example, but people will argue the closest example to perfect information, okay, to perfect competition in the real world, okay, perfect competition, we will have stock market. Stock market, if you think about it, 嗱諗下啦，好嘛？嗱 if you think about it, 嗱 stock market, they don't have perfect information, but they have rather good information, 係咪啊？都幾流通㗎噃。嗱啲消息係咪都傳得幾快啊？ Those information are flowing quite quickly, okay, flowing quite quickly, and with a look at those how do we call it 嗰啲業績版啊係咪啊 ？With a look at the price, it's very easy for you to know the price, know about everything, 係咪啊？Almost everything, not everything. Alright, so stock market, we argue, is the closest one. Alright, now let's jump back here. Now this time, unlike in our lesson, let's do it in a chronological order. Okay, we go from less competition to here. Okay, less competition, fewer competitions to more competition. No, to more competition to less competition. Okay, 好嘛？嗱，睇住咯噃。Monopolistic competition, we have many buyers and sellers. Okay, both buyers and sellers. Okay, many. Now, as opposed to monopoly, monopoly means one seller. Now, but this is not good enough. Okay, now this is not a correct answer. 唔係一個 seller. In a monopoly, we means there is one dominant sellers. Okay, now how come we need the word dominant? Now, for example, okay, now we just talk about one of the example being TVB. Alright, now when we talk about TVB, now you see it's kind of a monopoly, at least in the old days after ATV died down. Okay, 係咪啊？ Now, but think about it. Do they have no competitions? No, they actually have some kind of competitions. There are other sellers as well. For example, those 網台, now you know, those internet broadcasting, they're kind of sellers of broadcasting service as well. Okay, only that TVB being the clear winner there, 係咪啊？唔係冇其他 seller 喎，係只不過係得一個極大嘅 seller。其他都有 seller 㗎，嗰啲網台啊、咩 D100啊、阿蕭若元啊嗰啲，全部都係 broadcast 㗎。OK， only that they cannot hope to hold a candle against let's say TVB in our case. OK， 好嘛？ Now oligopoly is kind of the middle case here. we have few sellers 幾個啫嗱 again not few sellers few dominant sellers 有幾個極大嘅 seller 啦嗱 for example okay a lot of examples in Hong Kong now let's say in Hong Kong we have supermarket you will know right 係咪啊 and then we have few telecommunication etc okay now these markets you see maybe 3 to 5 okay now 2 to 5 dominant sellers for example supermarket we have parking shops and welcome few we only have around 好似得5間入有公司啊唔記得啦 okay now around 4 to 5 few company okay now so you see here the first one we look at number of mainly number of sellers buyers we are talking about many buyers okay but we are focusing on sellers many sellers in monopolistic competition okay now here the example selling sneakers 係咪啊 and then selling computer parts 係咪 computers etc okay now here next product remember in the real world always heterogeneous product it is impossible in the real world to be selling homogeneous product 唔係喎大家都係賣嗰嚿嘢啫 for example let's say a camera lens when you buy a Sony okay the Sony lens everyone is selling the same lens but remember there may be some different fringe benefit for example maybe one shop we have a pretty lady another shop an ugly man like me okay so you see you go to buy the camera lens at the pretty lady in fact you have better service 係咪養眼啲開心啲啊買得 in this sense everything is heterogeneous okay now obviously in 波鞋街 case and in Golden Archives okay Golden Archives case we will be talking about market entry kind of free entry no one will stop you 係咪啊嗱你而家試下去你其實有少少錢去高登開間鋪應該冇人阻你㗎 okay as long as you can pay the rent no one will be stopping you okay now unlike oligopoly and monopoly okay now oligopoly difficult and monopoly would be very difficult 係咪啊 now for example if you want to fight now let's say you want to open another supermarket build it right next to parking shop okay 喺百佳隔離起間超市嗱祝你好運啦應該好快玩完㗎啦 okay now it is very difficult to reasonably enter the market and expect to survive okay now because parking shop and welcome will do everything in their power to stop you from entering 係咪啊嗱I want to keep this video short so I'm not going to talk too much about the stories okay now basically you just need to know they will stop you at all costs okay now of course monopoly I don't even need to mention right of course it's going to be super hard now in the real world information I just mentioned always imperfect information 係咪 always imperfect information okay nothing is perfect in this world okay including information okay 嗱得唔得 so there is bound to be something you don't know and in the real world because of imperfect information everyone is a price searcher okay all sellers are price searcher they will be able to set a price okay on their own without referring to the market 佢哋自己 set 價㗎唔使睇市場㗎 okay now at least they are not bound by the market they can set any price they like okay and they face both price and non-price competition okay now this one I don't need to explain always have non-price competition maybe first come first serve maybe let's say if you are my frequent customer I'll be have better attitude towards you 係咪啊可能啦你係熟客咁咪對你態度好啲咯係咪 maybe if you are my frequent customer I will have more gifts for you right 係咪啊 non-price competition okay now these guys monopoly and monopolistic nothing special now but with oligopoly there is a very special feature that the oligopolies they will be very interdependent on each other Okay, now for example, parking shop and welcome. Let's say one of them lowers the price， 其中一個啦，係咪啊？嗱 here， let's say parking shop lowers the price. Now usually what happens, let's say within 5 minutes, welcome will also drop the price. 係嘛? Now they follow each other. Their strategy closely stick with each other. So anyone make a move, the others will immediately copy. They have a very serious interdependence. Okay. Now as to the true reason, again, I want to keep this video a short one. So let's not dive into that. All right. So this is the table. Okay. This is the table of this chapter. My advice: make sure you familiarize yourself with this table. Now, not even familiarize, recite the table, each and everything. Okay, recite the table. This is 80%. Now, this is already actually this is 90% of the chapter is right here. 90% 㗎啦，好啊，你搞掂呢個 table， 你讀咗90%㗎啦。Okay, so let's move on very quickly. Now, finally, in this chapter, we need to talk about monopoly. Now, we talk about monopoly being one dominant seller, but what are the sources of monopoly? Okay, now, first two sources, we have government, okay, government franchise or government ownership. Now, this one, basically, owned. What did I write? Okay, owned by the government. And this one, franchise. This is, let's say, allowed or licensed by the government. Okay, licensed by the government. For example, now I think owned. This one not difficult to understand, but licensed. Now let's talk about it. License. A typical example. 係嘛？中電同埋港燈啊，港燈Hong Kong Electric。Okay, CLP, 中電, Hong Kong Electric, 港燈. Okay, both of them are being licensed by the Hong Kong government to provide power supply. Okay, now remember, CLP and Hong Kong Electric, although there are two companies, this is actually a monopoly. Okay, monopoly by region. 你冇得揀邊個㗎。Okay, you don't have a choice which one you use. Okay, 得唔得？ You don't have a choice which one you use. If you live in Hong Kong Island, it must be Hong Kong Electric. Other than that, you are using CLP. You don't have a choice. Okay? Now, this one, we talked about it last. Okay? Endowment of resources. Okay? Basically, this means you have a good geographical location. Am I? Good geographical location. Now, one of the example, think of those natural oil, 係咪啊？ Natural oil and OPEC 嗰啲咩國際燃油組織啊，係咪啊？國際燃油組織啊，石油氣輸出國啊嗰啲啊，係咪啊？ Now those countries that are exporting, okay, exporting oil and petroleum, how come they are such a big cartel? 點解佢哋有咁大嘅勢力，有咁大合謀啊？ Because they owned around I think it's 70-something% of the oil reserve in the earth, right? 冇計啊，佢哋喺正嗰度，佢哋咪玩晒咯。Alright, now patents and copyright. Now basically, okay, if you have patent, you have copyright. You stop others. 嗱呢個我唔解啦，係嘛？ You stop others from using your technology. Okay, 得唔得？ So you have a monopoly. And finally, we just talk about cartel and integration. Now imagine when parking shop, okay, and welcome combine together to form one single superpower. Let's call it Parkham, okay? Let's say they combine into a Parkham. So you will see two oligopoly power combine into one very even bigger power. Okay, now cartel and integration, I don't think I need to explain. Right, now finally, natural monopoly. Now, in what sense natural? Okay, natural meaning that without the government doing anything. Okay? 咁有幾 natural 啊 ？In fact, we are talking about when the setup cost is way too high for most people. 係咪啊？ Typical example, we are talking about tunnel. You need a lot of capital to dig a tunnel, right? So even if you're not stopping other companies, right? I don't think there are other companies other than the one that has already dig up the tunnel that can enter the market to provide another, right? Another typical example, not just tunnel, but electricity, also requires very a tremendous amount of money to set up the proper equipment. Okay, so this is how we call it natural monopoly. 係咪佢入咗市，自然就冇人同佢爭啦 ？OK， 自然就冇人同佢爭啦。嗱 ，maybe set up cost too high, or maybe the market is too small. That can only accommodate one of them. Okay, accommodate one seller only. Others, if they enter, they will lose and they will go. 唔夠分啊，係咪啊 ？Alright, so setup cost too high or market size too small. These are the cases of natural monopoly. Okay, natural monopoly. Okay, now finally, this is not within the syllabus. Now, not straightly within the syllabus, but we need to talk about then how come in the real world we always try to, in the real world, right? We always try to talk about introducing competition. 我哋成日都話要引入競爭啊，點解嘅 ？Okay, now remember, with competitions, there are at least, I would say at least three good things. Okay, at least 3 good things that we can think of. Okay, now number 1, with competitions, remember when there are more competitions, obviously most likely price will go down. Okay, so consumer, okay, consumer would be very happy. Okay, 係咪啊？ Now second, with more competition, okay, we have more choices. Also, consumer happy. Now third, with competitions, besides price, we also have non-price, namely quality is likely to increase, also good for consumer. And finally, this one we have not learned yet. We are going to learn it in Form 6. In fact, the market efficiency,有啲叫效率嘅東西 the market efficiency will also improve, which this time good for all people. Okay, good for all people. Alright, 得唔得啊？ So this is chapter 12 in essence. Again, do not waste too much time revising this chapter. This is an easy and short chapter. Spend most of the time doing this table, and by most of the time I mean maybe less than an hour. Okay, now once you know this table, you know 90% of the chapter. And finally, just have a very quick look at the sources of monopoly power. For section 3 here, okay, competitions and lack of competition. Okay, think of it as a potential essay questions here. Alright, 得唔得？ So let us end the video here. Now, in next video, I'm going to talk about GDP. Alright? Alright, see you later.